Congress recently passed something called the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, and this law entitles employees and employers with 15 or more employees to have reasonable accommodations when they have pregnancy-related requirements. So you need to go to the bathroom more, you need breaks, you need to take time off to see the doctor. Recently, the EEOC, or the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, finalized its rules to enact the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, confirming that workers are entitled to these reasonable accommodations, and it's very broad, and it's anything that is pregnancy related. So again, if you need a stool to sit down, you need more bathroom breaks, you need time to go see a doctor, you need time for lactation, you need time to recover from a miscarriage or an abortion or other kind of pregnancy related condition, you are entitled to get what we call reasonable accommodations under the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act. The reason this is so important is that prior to this act, if you had what was called a normal pregnancy, you weren't necessarily entitled to any workplace changes. So we saw some crazy cases where women were lawfully fired because they needed to go to the bathroom more, or they needed to be able to sit down. They just very minor accommodations that employers were saying, nope, we're not doing that. And then they would fire these employees lawfully because they weren't covered by the Americans with Disabilities Act. Now, some women were. If they had a difficult pregnancy or some medically related condition, they could be covered under the Americans with Disabilities Act, but most women were not. And so there was this hole where we had pregnant women in the workplace who had very reasonable needs to accommodate them to be able to continue to work. Remember, these are the women who want to be in the workplace, who want to continue in their jobs, and these employers were denying these reasonable accommodations. With the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, it makes clear that the law protects these women. You're entitled to a reasonable accommodation. So if you're a pregnant worker, in the workplace, then you can come forward and ask for reasonable accommodations. Your employer is required to engage in a good faith negotiation with you. You don't necessarily get the first accommodation that you request, but your employer is required to try to find a solution that allows you to continue to work, that addresses what needs you might have. Again, they're often minor. You need more bathroom breaks, you need a stool to sit down, you need a few days off for doctor's appointments. Those sorts of things are now protected under the law.